Welcome to the show, the Total Financial Hour. I'm Arif Halaby along with Jeff Gerard. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. We're talking about your family's finances. Of course, getting out of debt, managing money, planning for the future. It's always about making the right financial choices. And, it never really matters what your mood or your happiness is or what you feel like. There are plenty of times when I was a kid and I didn't feel like going to school. And, school went on without me. And you wake up and you come back and you go, oh, I'm so much further behind. Well, work is the same thing. You have to work for your bills. You have to create a financial strategy, right? You have to create an income strategy. I just don't want you to get tricked by the financial industry. Here's what I mean by that. For a lot of folks, you think you need this elaborate financial plan. I need to put in all of my assets, my bills, my expenses. I need to see where I'm spending so I can budget. Oh, my retirement, if I take into account an average interest rate of, okay, that's fine. If you're one of the folks that says that's the way to live your life, if you're a spreadsheet kind of a guy or gal, fantastic. But for the rest of us normal people that don't live on Excel, how do you plan for your future? When you're busy and you have kids screaming and you have work requirements and you can't take a day off or you'll fall behind of anything, life, what do you do to balance that life? I'm going to give you kind of what I think, and it's worked, a story, a scenario that I think will fit your life just right. Here's why it matters. Because it's simple and easy to understand. Jeff, so many times we sit down with folks and they say, okay, I'm trying to work out a budget. I just never seem to be able to follow it. It's like a diet.
Right.
We all start on January 1st. I'm going to, and by January 8th, we're like, what was that again? I don't remember. Pass the cake. So folks forget that in the financial world, it's fairly simple. So here's how I want you to plan. You're going to look around your financial life and say, I like the way I'm living now. I'm comfortable, okay? Which means you have enough money coming in to do the things you want to do, to pay your bills, your needs, knowing that when you retire, when you get to that place, there's going to be some things that are no longer going to be present, hopefully. Your kids will not be as expensive and hopefully will be on their own, except for yesterday, a 50-year-old man who still collects money from his mom. Lives in his one of her rental properties in the valley, and she pays him $2,500 a month.
To live in her rental property.
Yes. The
Wow.
good news is the wife who was a teacher who quit gets to stay there too.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Very nice.
I
Mom.
said, are you kidding? Oh, how old is he? He's 50 years old. Well, okay, so except for those kinds of scenarios, and some of you are the perpetrators of the crime, and you've got a list of reasons and excuses. You're not the one that I can help. I love you. You're a great person. Hopefully you're a God-fearing person. There's nothing I can do for you. Because no matter what, you have an excuse of why you're not supposed to succeed. And I can't help you with that. Nobody can, frankly. But for the rest of you, for us normal people, quotes around it, but you got the idea. How do you find out how much you need to retire? It's rather simple. Number one, you start with something that says, what am I spending per month? And I like my life.
Yeah, but you guys call it an ugly word. You call it a budget.
It is a budget, but you're doing it anyway. So just say, I don't want you to go through your debit card and start saying, $1.84 for coffee, $75 for Christmas presents this month or for birthday presents. No. I don't want that. How much does your paycheck net? $2,000 every 2 weeks. Okay, that's $4,000 a month. What about your spouse? Another $2,000. Okay, so you spend $8,000 a month. Do you like the way your life is? Yeah, I like it. Boom, there's your budget. That's it. We're done. Oh, but I have kids. That's right. I'll have my house paid off. Wonderful. So you can plus and minus it a little bit. Say, well, at least I won't have a house payment when I retire. Fine. My car will be paid off. You'll probably need another one sooner or later.
Yeah. I like what you said the other day. I don't even know if you remember saying it, but when you were talking about a budget with someone, you said, take what the number that you're bringing in and what you spend each month. Is there any money left over? Great, you're in good shape. Did you go into debt? Okay, then you have to make some changes.
That's right.
It's really simple.
If you find you're having to charge on your credit cards and you cannot pay them off each month, then the $8,000 number or the figure that's coming in is not enough. If you find that you're able to set aside $500 or $1,000 or put it in your savings account and not touch it, not a put and take account, right? Put and take is different than savings. Same kind of syllables, right? When you do the job, put and take, savings. Maybe it's the same or not. But don't think a put and take account. Oh, I save 500. Well, how much do you have in there? I have 800. Well, gosh, if you've been saving 500 a month and you have 800 in there, you're probably taking money. Well, the end of the month is not enough. Got it. Then, folks, now we know the problem. All right, so follow me on this. We say to ourselves, how much do we net, which is after taxes? How do you know the difference? Think of a net. A net has holes in it, right? A fishing net. It catches what you keep. The money in the fish, in this case, that goes out the bottom, those are taxes. That's how I remembered it when I was a kid. The net is what you keep. The gross, it's gross how much in taxes you pay, because off it goes, bye-bye. How much do you bring in? So now we say, all right, when am I going to retire? If I'm going to retire at 60 years old, okay, 60, then take that number times 12 for the year, and then times it by 25. If you're going to retire late 60s or early 70s, times it by 22. If you're going to retire or stop working 73, 4, 5 or more, times it by 18 to 20. And you're good. Simple. I don't want you getting into I need a full scale. Listen, the financial industry folks, they know you don't understand those things. Now, there might be a few of you engineer types that do, but most of you don't. They know Wall Street knows they're going to give you those perspective, whatever they call them, right? The thin things that you can see through with the gray writing or the beige writing. And it gives it to you in page 4 and it takes it away in page 8. And the paragraph 2 contradicts, in your opinion, to paragraph 7. You can't figure it out. They know you don't understand that. What is it for? It is exactly the same as Proposition 65. Do you even know what Proposition 65 is?
I do.
It's the same silly things that you see everywhere. There are chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer in this facility. And you guys were all excited, and they spent millions of dollars pushing that. I don't know if it was the sign companies or the lawyers or what. And they put these signs everywhere, so they don't mean anything anymore.
Right.
Right? It's like the old, well, I'm only going to eat at restaurants with an A rating from... You guys don't even know. There's nobody to enforce it. I can print an A out on my computer and put it in a restaurant window. Nobody cares. Right? So the same thing with Proposition 65. It's the same thing with my friends on the left, you socialist friends, right? It's symbolism over substance. I need to feel like I'm doing things versus logic. So I need to feel like I have a financial plan, because look, it's 47 pages. It's got a color binder. It's got a hardcover. Boy, I am financially on track. Look at how I feel. Well, folks, 1 + 1 is 2. Whether you feel like it's 6 or you want it to be 7, nobody cares. So you need to know how much comes in and how much goes out. It's not a difficult formula, right? You know if you're overweight. I don't have to tell you that. I know that I can lose a few pounds. All of us do. You know when you eat the second helping of chocolate cake, you probably shouldn't. Or the third scoop of ice cream. I don't know. Do you need somebody to go, hey, don't? You're like, wow, my gosh, I didn't even totally escape my mind. I should have the smaller piece of cake. I mean, right? You guys know that. It's not a secret. So you have to ask yourself, why are you making decisions that purposely go against what you say, the words out of your mouth, the actions? Okay? I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. But I do know that there are people like you and me out there that make financial decisions, that do things financially, and we do it based on a couple of things. Sometimes it's because of the way we feel. Not always because of what is right for us. So when you are spending money and you're saving for retirement, you've got to be doing things mathematically, right? You have to do it based on a calculator, not on how you feel. Listen, there are places for your feelings. I'm not saying that. I'm a married guy. I have a daughter. I have a son. I have kids, a mom. Right? We have a family. Your feelings are very important, but not when it comes to math. Nobody cares how you feel about math. And we can get that away when we can move that to the side. Then you can start looking at the signs that you're ready to retire. Because a lot of you think that you're ready to retire just because you feel like you're ready to retire. But Jeff, it's more than that.
It is, and we've seen so many case examples of that where someone feels like they want to retire because, look, they've emotionally checked out, right? They already have it in their mind that a particular age or whatever have you is the trigger. They say, I'm going to retire. Because it just feels right, Arif. It feels right to retire. And then they look in their savings account and there's $48,000, and you were used to living on $8,000 a month from your paychecks, trading your time and doing of course a service, and then tomorrow you're going to stop trading your time and your pension's going to be $4,000 a month.
You remember that guy?
Where are you going to make up 50% of your income when you have less than $50,000 saved? I mean, if you're only going to retire for a year, fantastic. Then that's a wonderful financial plan.
Yep.
But that's not any type of real plan, and that's where I think we get tricked into, and whatever it is, whether it's the financial world, we think that the guy on the other side of the table or the gal on the other side of the counter behind all the fancy computers, they have this magic wand and they're going to take your $48,000 and they're going to turn it into $4 million, and you never have to worry about it again.
Yes.
We'll just figure it out. You guys, we don't have that. Nobody has that. It's all about you going to work. Your job makes you rich, not a financial plan. I mean, hey, you can pick the next, crazy investment, and then, there's a windfall in your favor, and it was a wonderful, wonderful timing on your part. But that's all luck, and that doesn't happen to everybody, and it doesn't happen all the time. In fact, we don't even hear about that happening anymore.
No, a lot of folks forget that one of the main things you can ever do to become financially independent almost has nothing to do with picking the right stock or picking the right product. Your wealth is determinative based on who you choose as a partner. That's not me. Mr. Buffett says that. Warren Buffett, some of you may have heard of him. Right? Warren Buffett says something very simple. The number one financial decision he ever made is decide who you choose as a spouse. I'm not sure the details. I can give you my opinion on why I think that matters, but whether or not it's the same reasons that he gave, I don't know. The second is your career. Listen, you don't select a career based on how much you're going to make, but you cannot expect to spend more money than you make from your career. So you can be a dishwasher, spend less than you make, save consistently, invest wisely, poof, you're wealthy. You can be somebody who makes $20,000, $30,000 a month. Great income. Spend $30,000 or $40,000 a month,
right,
and you're broke. So we have seen all things. I don't want. Remember, Jeff, we had a gentleman come in, and he said, Arif, I remember he made $18,000 a month. I don't know why I remember that. And he said, Arif, and this was a decade ago. He said, Arif, how do people live in Santa Clarita with making less than $18,000 a month? Yeah, it's so difficult. I'm a single guy. I have a car. How do you live on less than $18,000 a month? Remember that?
I do.
It was pretty. Both of us looked at each other and thought, wow. And at the same time, within the same period of time, we had a client who built cabinets, right? And
Yep.
he was, whether he was here legally or not, he had a thick Hispanic accent, so he wasn't Mr. Blend in, right, that you guys call him. He was a guy who worked hard. He was a guy who couldn't just walk into a place and say, I want to be a computer programmer. He had to work physical labor. And I said, well, why did you choose this? He said, very simply, I was living in my uncle's bedroom, got my girlfriend pregnant, we had a new baby. I wasn't married, and I was living in a bedroom in my uncle's house. And I decided, hear the word? Decided that wasn't the life I wanted. So he started a trade, picked up a trade, working. There's no such thing as Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I think that's designed by a system that's designed to keep you needing it or broke. I don't know how conspiratorial it might be, but if you just say get it do it until it gets done. Oh, time and a half, overtime, OSHA rules. Well, you know what? How about you just say, let me do what I can do to become wealthy or successful or financial, whatever that means, right? For you, it might be $1 more than you spend per month. Nothing wrong with that. And so what this guy did is he went out, he picked up the trade, learned how to work. His uncle, over a period of time, believed in him. He said, Uncle, I need to borrow some money. I want to buy some land. The uncle said, okay. So borrowed some money. The uncle had a lien against the property, so if it went sideways, the uncle got the land. This young man, on his weekends, the evenings, started building. He built 8 homes. He had to learn how to go to the city numerous times because it was a larger parcel of land. He had to get it separated and put in sewer and pipes and plumbing. Work. It took him a few years. And he built 8 homes. At that point in time, all of them but one were paid off. Free and clear. Guy was in his mid-30s. And you ask him and he just thinks, oh, he drives an older car, builds the cabinets for somebody else, and then he has his own little cabinet shop in his garage that he builds. Custom, amazing cabinets, by the way. I share that with you because some of you have been in this country for 15 generations and you still can't get out of your own way. Some of you have a family of higher education and you're still broke. Here's a guy who said, well, fairly confident he didn't come here legally. And he said, I'm just going to make a decision. So when you're building a strategic income for you and your family and you have to make some changes, it's a decision, you guys. Listen, I feel bad for you. I get it. All of us have been taken, right? I can give you a list of things that I've lost money in and been taken, right? We all have those stories. But how quickly you can recover from that? How hard are you willing to work? How hard are you willing to change the parts of you that are not conducive to being successful? I don't know. I mean, all of us have them. So when we come back, what are some of the signs that you're ready to retire early? Well, I gave you some of it. It's the math formula. What about some others? We've got those when we come back. I'm Arif Halaby. That's Jeff Gerard. This is your Total Financial Hour on your hometown station, KHTS. We'll be right back.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association has a new gallery in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Main and Railroad, right across from the Canyon Theater Guild. The gallery features our members' paintings, sculptures, and one-of-a-kind handcrafted gift items. Whether you're an art lover, buyer, or an artist wishing to join, visit our website at santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming events and exhibits, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
Financial security will help you live the life you dream.
Hey, welcome back to the show, the Total Financial Hour. That was a quick break. Thanks for staying with us. Arif Halaby and Jeff Gerard on your place for news, talk, and information, your hometown station, KHTS. All right, your family's financial life. When is it time to retire? As Jeff mentioned earlier, listen, you made a great point, Jeff. It isn't just an age. I remember early on in my financial career, 22 years ago, people would come and say, well, at least at age 65, I no longer have to pay taxes.
Oh, boy.
And I thought, well, I don't know where you got that from, but that's not accurate. So we had to come up with a formula for people to say, no, understand it had nothing to do with your age, because you can retire at 35, 45, 55. It doesn't matter. Even access some of your retirement accounts prior to age 59 and a half. There's a formula. There's a way to do it. What you have to look at is, if you are ready or want to retire, can you live on your retirement budget?
Well, and that's the biggest part. I mean, I think we've talked about this a lot, Irf, over the last 14, 15 years, that a practice retirement makes probably the most sense for anybody that we can imagine. If you think you're going to retire, look, take whatever you think your retirement income will be. And some people say they want to live on, or that they can live on, about 75 to 80% of their current income. Okay, great. Take that number and live on that number right now. While you have the cushion, take that extra 20, 25% and just put it in the bank. In fact, I challenge you to not put it in your savings account where you currently bank. Take it to a bank or a credit union or a community bank across town where there's no debit card, there's no convenient access to it, and stuff it in there. Do this for 6 months. Make it very, very inconvenient to get to those dollars, and tell me how you live.
That's right.
Did you swipe a credit card? Did you go without? Did you eat out less? Did your lifestyle change? That'll tell you right then and there that the math is either in your favor or out of your favor.
Yeah, that's a great point, because you can decide or practice, can I live on that 80% without changing my lifestyle to a place where you're not comfortable with? If you say yes, then fantastic. I want you to use that same strategy, by the way, just a side note, if you're looking at buying a new car. Maybe you had a car for 5 or 8 or 9 years, the payment's done, you're saying, can I afford an extra $500 a month? Well, you're going to take 3 months, pull that $500 from your savings and any additional amount of car insurance money, because there's going to be usually a greater amount of car insurance because you have a newer car. Take those dollars, set it aside for 3 months. Can you live that way? Oh yeah, I'm comfortable, nothing changes. Great. Now you have some more money for a down payment. You start the next month, instead of putting it in your savings, you're going to pull it out and pay your car payment, and your lifestyle doesn't change a bit. That is the same strategy we use for retirement. Can you get to retirement? Is it a comfortable place? Do you enjoy it? Because if you can live within those means, then the next thing is the time. That means the next time you take a vacation, I want you to have a vacation, then act what I say as if. You're going to play pretend. Yes, I am retired. Because you think, I love it when people come to me, it's almost like the, like the innocent when somebody comes, I'm like, I grow up, Daddy, I'm going to become a superstar. You say, oh, you're so cute, sweetie.
It's adorable.
That's adorable, right? Yeah. So when somebody comes and they say, oh, Arif, when I retire, I'm going to spend the next 2, you know what my honey-do list is? I have things to do around the house. It's probably going to take me at least a year. And I always think that's so cute. Because, the guy's all energetic. He retires. The wife's all excited. She's going to finally get the screen door fixed, and they come, walking in 3 months later. I go, what happened? He goes, well, I finished everything in about 2 weeks. I'm just hanging out. I go, well, then you might want to look at this and say maybe retirement is different. Because there isn't going to be, now I don't know, maybe you live on a 10-acre ranch with a tractor and 6 horses and, 8 cows and 2 goats. Maybe you do have weeks and months of things to do, but most people don't, because you're probably not that good at fixing screen doors, so you're just going to hire somebody anyway. You're probably not that great at painting the outside, because by the time you start the front and finish the back, it's time to paint again anyway. So hire somebody to do it. So one of the signs that you're ready to retire is you have a grasp and an understanding of the time. Because if you don't, if you can act as if, right, you have a 2-week vacation, what is life like? Are you going to sleep in later? Are you going to eat more? Because here's what I found. If you don't have, and our third part is this, a purpose, then when you retire, whatever your bad habits are, you will do more of them. Okay, let me give you a good example. If you smoke a little bit, half a pack a day, whatever your vice is, you will smoke more. If you eat a little bit and you can't control overeating, you will overeat a lot. If you drink a little bit, occasionally socially, you will overdrink. If you gamble, you will gamble more than you normally do. If you play video games, you are going to do that Now you might say, oh, Arif, that's just such a... Listen, you think I make this stuff up? 22 years and 10,000 people or so, more probably, have come through my office. I'm only telling you this because I care about you, but I kind of don't care about your feelings, right? I mean, I do. I care about your feelings, but somebody's got to tell you the truth, right? If everybody plays pretend like the king has no clothes, and you walk in and you say, I'm going to retire. When I grow up, I'm going to be a super... I go, great. Oh, that's so wonderful. See you in a year. Get that little tool belt. Get to work. And you say, somebody's got to tell you the truth. Lovingly. right? When somebody's brutally honest, I think they're just brutal. You don't have to be that way, right? So they can tell you the truth in love. You could say things like, hey, listen, part of the important thing about retirement is to realize that you need to have a purpose. I don't care if it's watching the grandkids. I don't care if you're volunteering at the theater or as a docent somewhere or working part-time. We have a client that works at a big box store, and she does the carts, right? Pushes the carts around and greets.
Mm-hmm.
She's worth millions. Now, she won't tell anybody, of course, right? We don't say anything. But you ask, gosh, why is she doing this? Well, for two reasons. One, she wants a higher Social Security check because she currently just gets a pension from her husband who's passed away. So she wants some Social Security, so she's going to get a little bit of that and Medicare. And the other part of it is, believe it or not, she gets bored. And when all of a sudden somebody says, hey, listen, we need you to fill in Thursday's shift, you need me? You need me to fill in Thursday? I'll do it. I think that's a great idea, right? So there's a purpose, not the $12 or $7 or whatever they get paid per hour. It's not that. So when you're young, you usually work for money because you don't have any. When you're older, you work for purpose because you don't have any. So I want you to have something. Now, if it means you're still working, I spoke to a gentleman earlier this morning, 72 years old. He's an attorney. He doesn't need to work anymore. He's worth millions. And what does he say? He says, well, Arif, what else am I going to do? I work out 5 days a week, and I work from 10 a.m. till about 3 p.m., and I still make 6 figures a year because he's a professional. He's done what he's done for years. But what else am I going to do? And sometimes it's not a rhetorical question. I go, well, let's start with this. I want you to clean out the garage, fix the screen door, right? You got to have a purpose. All right, Jeffrey, give me another one here. How else are you going to know?
I think going back to the budget part makes sense, but really it's about how much money you think you're going to be taking out of your retirement account. So we alluded to it a little bit earlier, where someone thought that $50,000 was going to last them through retirement. Now, if that's only the little bucket you're going to use to go on vacation or buy fun toys or fund a hobby you have, that's one thing. But I think a big nest egg is coming more and more into the picture because so many people are working for these big companies, communications companies, municipalities, utility companies, and they're getting a big pension buyout. And what does that mean? That means that instead of saying, company that I worked for the last 30 years, I want you to pay me, continue making a payment to me, a monthly payment for the next 30 years or however long I live. So what they're giving you now is they're saying, look, we could give you this payment for the rest of your life, but we're making it really attractive by dangling this big bucket of dollars out in front of you. And so I think people are going, oh, wow, I'm rich. There's $600,000. There's $800,000. There's $1.3 million coming into my bank account. I'm just going to roll it over. I'll manage it. No problem. I have some people around me. I got some ideas. And, I think I can live off of, and you fill in the blank per year. That is a very dangerous place if you don't do the right thing with it. And we're just seeing it more and more, which is why I brought it up.
Jeff, that's interesting because are you talking about the person that, yeah. Okay, so retired from a large institution, I don't know, what was it, about $800,000.
Yeah.
We built a strategy, right? 2 different buckets, shorter term, longer term. And all of a sudden, her brother needs to buy a house. Well, what would he do without you? Oh, well, he would finance. Well, let him finance. We're at the lowest interest rates forever. So
right.
This is money. You're in your mid-60s. This money is designed for you to last for the next 30-plus years. Your brother can buy a house. There's 100 ways he can buy a house. He can buy a smaller house. He can rent. He can go to work. There's a million things he can do. So don't think that when you have your retirement accounts that it's acting as if it's an extra savings account. It is not, you guys. Your retirement accounts have a job to do. That's why they spank you and punish you, financially speaking, when you pull out more than you're supposed to. They penalize you with taxes, with fees and fines. They do that because that's not the job for the money. The job for the money is income, income, income. Now, oh, Arif, I want to buy an RV. Fine, take it out. I want to take out 100. You probably need to take out 130, 150. Because when your CPA gets done with you and he says, this is how much you need to take out, and this is what your taxes are, the RV is not going to cost you 100,000. It's going to cost you 130 or 140. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? And by the way, that pushes some of your other income into a higher tax bracket. So when I say have a conversation with your CPA, it's not a, this isn't a joke. This is a serious conversation. And your CPA can put it into the computer and say, okay, you can pull out this much. If you pull out more, if you pull out less, here's going to be your taxes. And then you can decide if it's worth it. If it isn't, well, you probably need to not do that. And that's a very important part if you're going to be looking at creating a financial strategy that lasts for the rest of your life and your spouse's life. Those are big deals.
Well, and when it comes to the RV, I think this is a good point to bring up. If you really think you're going to use the RV as much as you think you are, that you're willing to pull out $50, $60, $80, $100,000 out of that big retirement bucket of dollars, go rent one. Go take that 2-week vacation.
That's
Spend all 2 weeks in the RV, and then if you really, really, really want one, go finance it. If you were willing to part with $100,000 from in a big lump sum, I think you can figure out a way to come up with $200 or $300 or $400 a month as a payment.
Yeah.
And keep that money in your bank, because once it leaves, and you said this a million times, Arif, once that money leaves your account, it is never, ever, ever coming back, and is never, ever going to earn interest for you again.
And you and your family have to realize that if you're in the middle of doing this, there is a very difficult period of time in your life that you're going to go through where you will probably spend more money than you have the ability to spend. Why? Because your purpose, if you didn't plan for that, you will buy your purpose. Right? One of the questions I ask is, what do you do for fun? And they go, oh, well, why do I ask that? Because if you do pottery for fun, that's not a very expensive thing. You might buy your own kiln or buy your own little thing that spins, whatever that's called, spinner thing.
I think it's a thing that spins.
Things that spin.
when
You
do
might
pottery.
do that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's. I mean, okay, maybe it costs a lot, but not that much. But if you say, oh, Arif, I'm an international safari photographer. Now you're talking of an extra $5,000 a month, $20,000 a year. I don't know. That's not what you spent when you were working, because you were working. You were busy. But all of a sudden, you're now going to be somebody who has free time, and your hobbies or what you do for fun cost money. So whether you do that on purpose or you go and buy a purpose, it can be costly. And until you figure that out, kind of think of like a plane that's out of control. It's going to take a while to level off. Those dollars go away, and they go away forever. Another big expense, as I mentioned, of this 50-year-old man
Yeah.
is your children. You can't expect to pay for your children forever. Folks, I get the guilt, right? The reason, in many cases, that I have found, my community college psych, I think that's where I took psych, was in my first 2 years, is probably because you're guilty. You feel bad about something, divorcing, not being there, working part-time, working full-time, loving the other child more. I don't know. But there is no reason that's logical where you say you are a healthy 30-year-old. Why in the daylights are you still living in my basement? Why are you still... Now, listen, hey, if you're living there and you're paying rent, I got you. I'm good with that. But if you're living there and you're just existing and you don't have a job and you're not in school, shame. Shame on you. Shame on them. Right? This is a time in life. Listen, we want to be there for our kids. I have 3 of them. They got to get out there. They're going to try things. They're going to fail. They're going to come back. I'm okay with that. But they better be contributing to society and not existing, staying up till 3 in the morning on the internet. We've seen it. And guys, you have to create an environment that says, hey kids, you want to go do that, you can go do that somewhere else. My job was to give you food, shelter, and clothing and to get you started in life. And if you're not working and saving or investing or buying rental property or putting money aside in your retirement accounts, you have to be doing something that's moving your life forward and not going in the circle saying, thank you, may I have another? Thank you, can I have another?
Well, maybe some people as parents are just buying their purpose, or they're continuing that purpose. My neighbor across the street from my mom, she had this house in Burbank for 20 years, 20 plus years, and this guy was working all the time. He was the guy that went around and mowed everyone's lawn, and he had the blower and the mower and all that stuff, but he didn't have a work truck or anything to pull the stuff around. He just did whatever was in walking distance of his parents' house. And his parents would travel. They had the little recreational thing and the pull behind little fifth wheel, and they'd go travel. They'd do all kinds of good stuff. But Junior, he'd stay home, and he was, last I checked, 60 something, gray beard.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But
and that was his thing.
But he was working, man. He was doing his thing. He was the neighborhood landscaper. Yeah.
And it just as far as he could push the mower.
And his folks, they were nice enough people. They were all pleasant people. They liked living together, I guess.
I guess look, there's nothing wrong with with living with folks. What I see over and over again is healthy young people, some of them with a college education, either some or part college.
Yeah.
Where they would sit there and you say, okay, so wait a second. What do you mean they went to school at University of what, Minnesota, Chicago, doesn't matter. And why are they back? Well, they're back. I love it. Come back. I want my kids to come back. My dream is to have a cul-de-sac where all of us live on the cul-de-sac and we have a little gate. I don't know if you call that control or not. It might be an issue. But that'd be fun, right? All the little grandkids, kids running around. I think that'd be a great time. But you have been given tools to give them a chance to get out. And I can't help you with the guilt, why you left their dad or their mom left, or you think you did something wrong. I don't know those. But understand that it's something. And I think Dr. Laura's on after us, so maybe she can help. But I can't. I just know it's a problem. I see it.
Or we can always buy a piece of land and have your client build 8 houses on it for us, right?
I think he's probably in the higher end of builders at this moment. We haven't talked to him for a little while. It'd be interesting to see with the latest real estate boom, what it looks like, what his life looks like, because he's a pretty good guy. Okay, talk about debts, Jeff, because we see that people will get into debt. And now student loan debts are coming to bite us later on at age 62.
That's right. I mean, you could be 62, you can be 82. I can cite both of those examples where it's not just your college education, because by definition, if you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, that's been paid off a long time ago, or you worked 2 jobs or whatever it took to put yourself through school. The student loans back then weren't as abundant, but today we're seeing Parent Plus loans, and we're seeing, they should call them Grandparent Plus loans, because so many of our retired clients still have something on their balance sheet that says, I've got this $386 a month student loan payment. Well, you're not going to school. Oh, I helped my granddaughter out, or you fill in the blank. So those are fine and dandy, and that's great. But to your point, Arif, these young people have a lot of time in front of them, and retired people do not have as much time, and they're on a fixed income. I think if we can find a way where people can just get their mind wrapped around the time aspect of it and the money that it takes, because sometimes they say, oh, look, I've got the money, it's okay, the $386 a month, it's not going to change my life. But I think people value things more when they put their blood, sweat, and tears and trade their time for it, and they have to stretch a little bit. It's kind of like when someone wants to borrow money, right? And they say, hey, can I borrow $1,000? I'll give you $500. No, I just want to borrow. No, I'm going to give you $500 because I never want you borrowing money to mean that I never see you again as a family member. But I also want you to have to stretch a little bit for the rest of it, because what would you have done if, like you said, if I wasn't here? So student loans, be very careful carrying those into retirement, because who is the collection agency for the student loans now?
Folks, it is the IRS. You can thank a wonderful President Obama who signed a deal that says, hey, listen, by the way, there are no more private loans. Took them away. You can't have them anymore, and they're now federally insured. People go, oh, the federal government. All of you that want, federal grandpa taking care of you. Oh, can't wait. Oh, federal. Well, you don't think strings come with that? Who's the collection agency for the federal government? The IRS. And when the IRS were found to go after conservative groups, I don't care. Listen, I am a conservative. If you haven't figured that out, you're only listening to 8 seconds of the show, right? I care about the Constitution and values. That matters to me. I never want the government to weaponize the IRS like it did in the last administration. There was like 3 or 4 liberal groups and 140 conservative groups that they went after, the Tea Party groups. If you had the name Tea Party in your name, you weren't getting a 501c3. In fact, they took the list. The IRS required the organizations to give us a list of your board members. When they did, they went out and audited and targeted and harassed those board members. Why in the daylights aren't you guys running around with signs saying, this is tyranny? I don't know. But that same organization, Mrs. Lois Lerner and all her cohorts, right? That same organization is now responsible to collect your student loan payments. And if you didn't make that payment, do you think they're going to say, oh, well, you're so polite, you're so wonderful, how do you feel about paying your IRS debt? They're not going to care.
Or, hey, you're on a fixed income, you only have Social Security. We're not going to touch that.
Do you not think they're going to take the equity in your home?
Yeah.
Now, they'll put a lien on your house. They may not kick you to the curb. I doubt they would do that. But they'll put a lien on your house. The house that you saved for that you thought was going to go to that kid who lives in the basement, he doesn't get it anymore, right? Who says, I can't wait for mom to die because I get a $2 million house. No. You and the IRS get that money. And the fines and the fees and the penalties and the interest continue to add up. So you have to be careful with student loans. You have to be careful with other debts, especially debts that are backed by the IRS. You cannot file bankruptcy on these types of debts. Otherwise, people would. It's what they used to do. Under the Reagan administration, prior to that, you would have desks and tables at the end of graduations for law school and doctor's offices. No exaggeration. That's exactly what they would do. And they would go, da 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 da, hey, yay, hip yippee, and then you walk out, and these bankruptcy attorneys would be handing out their business cards. And people would say, well, listen, I got a $100,000 student loan debt. I can pay it off. Maybe I can't do anything for 5 or 10 years, but I don't have to make that payment. So I'll live on cash for a while, and that's a good deal. And it got so out of control enough for it to be brought to the attention of the federal government, and they said, that's it, you can't file bankruptcy on student loan debt anymore, minus a very few exceptions. Okay, so those changes you might think are really good unless you're the person on the other side. You're like, uh-oh, I signed for my granddaughter's student loan. This affects you. So make sure those debts are paid off. All right, when we come back, I'll give you a couple more things, wrap up a little bit with some of the times and things that you can say, now I know I'm ready to retire. Now I know things look good. I can pull the trigger, if you will. When we come back, it's your Total Financial Hour. I'm Arif Halaby. That's Jeff Gerard. On your place for news, talk, and information, this is your hometown station, KHTS. We'll be right back.
Looking for a new fun activity for your son or daughter? If you are, then visit Ice Station Valencia and get your child started in ice skating. The Ice Station Skating Academy offers classes for all ages and skill levels. A Skating Academy enrollment is also a great gift for any child. A new semester starts every 2 months, so it's never too late to sign up. Ice Station is located across the street from Valencia High School. Call 775-8686 or check icestation.net for more ice skating fun.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is your official Santa Clarita Dodger station. You can catch all evening games right here on your hometown station. For all the latest news and updates on your Los Angeles Dodgers, KHTS has you covered. Go to hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, you need an expert. Hi, I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I've helped hundreds of Santa Clarita residents save their homes completely for free. I've got just over 20 years experience and a loan modification success rate of over 80%. I can negotiate better terms with your bank and I can save your home from foreclosure. And again, we do this completely for free. So if you're in any danger, please call me today at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I'll be happy to help you save your home for free.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
Financial security will help you live the life you dream. Learn about financial power, the Total Financial Hour. Now higher income strategy.
Hey folks, Arif Halaby here. Our job is to financially kind of help you navigate at least a little bit, learn some tips and tricks. Right? You're never going to become a full financial scholar on anybody's radio show or TV show. the possibility of gaining some knowledge as you go, that's what it's all about. It's about learning some tips and tricks so that financially you end up in a place that's better. You ask the right questions, you get to the right place. One of the things that we're talking about when it comes to signs that you're ready to retire earlier, maybe than you thought, we talked about a purpose. That's a big part of it to me. Emotionally, you're ready to quit working, right? You've checked out, as you've said, Jeff. I think you used that term. You've checked out. You said, hey, it's time for me to move on. Maybe it's just not interesting to you anymore. Maybe you got in trouble for a couple of things. You feel like you were picked on, a couple of things. There's a few little things that can happen in your life where eventually you just say, it's just not fun anymore. We see this a lot when people's bosses change. A new manager comes in, and they say, management or our company was bought out, and it's no longer the same place that it used to be. So those things can happen where supervisors or bosses or changes. But what about paying off your debts, getting your children financially independent, getting them moving on, moving forward? They don't have to move forward at a fast pace. And when you and I make excuses for our kids, well, you don't understand, he's a little bit or she's a little bit. It doesn't matter. There's people without arms and legs that are going out and making a living. There's Charles Krauthammer, who just passed away, and the man finished medical school as a quadriplegic. You have to understand that, and went on to live a very fulfilled life. An author, a commentator, a teacher, a speaker, psychologist. The man was an MD, right? So, a psychiatrist. So you have to realize that in this process, all of us are going to have problems. So let's get our children financially independent. And sometimes you just have to draw a line. And as Jeff said, you had a great point. The kids want $1,000. You say, I can't give you 1,000, but I'll give you 500. I like this better. I'll give you 500 if you show me you have made 500.
There you go.
Whatever you make, whatever you come to me to the table with, I'll match that. So you go work, collect cans, collect bottles, work part-time, park cars. I don't know. Do something. Come and show me that you've made money, then I will help you out. And don't give it in the form of a loan, because you'll never see him again. Unless you never want to see him again. I heard this is one of my favorite things. Look, when you walk into a room, you can always tell who you borrowed money or who needs to borrow money from you or who you've lent money to. Right? If I never want to see you again, it's worth it to lend you $1,000 because you'll stop calling me, you'll disappear, you won't answer my calls. That's a good thing if you don't want to see somebody. If you want to be somebody's best friend, borrow money from them. They will call you all the time. They will try to find you. Okay, so make sure their debts are paid off. The last thing is pretty important because for a lot of you, you have a short memory. You forget 2008, 2009, when the market lost half, and not slowly, but very quickly, relatively speaking. We lost a lot of money. Can your portfolio withstand losses?
Well, that's a great question to ask because, like you said in the beginning of the program, we're talking about these elaborate financial plans and these leather-bound booklets, and you get this wonderful layout for your retirement future, right? And it's all on paper, but what you're forgetting is that those returns that they show you, or the way that it's laid out, that's in a lot of cases a really attractive scenario. I like to look, and I know if you feel the same way, is we like to look at a worst case scenario. And then let's repeat that. Let's look at that over 30 years. In fact, let's take the last 10 years or so. We called it the lost decade from 2008 to 18 because it took 10 years for us to see things come back to where they ought to have been. And one of the most dangerous times we see someone retiring is when things are great, right? Oh, the market's up, my accounts are up, everything feels fantastic. This is always going to continue this way. I think it's time to retire. And that is a very, very scary place to be because if you're not taking into account the fact that you're going to be taking money out now, because remember, before you were working, you were spending your time working and making money. Now you're going to spend your money in your free time. So there's that pressure. Maybe you have some fees that you didn't know about in your account, and now the market takes a dip, even 10 or 15%, which is a lot, by the way, because our clients don't experience that. But that's okay to some people.
I would say you decide how much you can afford to lose. Now, you might say, I can't afford to lose anything. Well, then don't be in the market. It's like going to Vegas and saying, I like to gamble. Great. What do you come to play with? Well, what do you mean? Well, how much are you going to gamble? Well, my house mortgage is $2,000. I'm going to gamble $2,000. You go, no. How much extra? So whatever you play with, whatever you put into the market, expect to go away. Now, maybe not forever. Some of them maybe, but at least for the next 10 years, because that's how long it takes, 7, 8, 9 years to make your money back when we have a big dip. It happened in 2000. It happened in 2008. There's no reason to think it won't happen again, that it might take. Now, maybe we go down in 1 and 2 years, but look how long it takes to make your money back. That's about a 7, 6, 7, 8, 9 year cycle. So say to yourself, I'm willing to put money into the account if I'm willing to be in the market that I'm willing to lose. And maybe it'll take us 8 or 9 years to come back. So meanwhile, I need 7 or 8 or 9 years of income set aside over with Total Financial Solutions, where we have protection, we have growth, and we don't have a loss if the market goes backwards. If that matters to you, if that's what you want to do, that's what we do. 888-99-RETIRE, that's our phone number. 888-99-RETIRE. Maybe we can help you. You can give us a call at any time. Phone number rings straight to my office. And we have a great staff of folks able to answer the phone. You'll always meet with me directly. You're never going to meet with a team of people. We don't have a whole scenario that's set up that way. You work with me. Our staff is licensed, nearly all of them, and we specifically put together a way to guide and direct you. That's 888-99-RETIRE. And you can also go to hometownstation.com if you want to check out the radio station website. You can also go directly to us, which is TFS, stands for Total Financial Solutions. So tfswealth.com. I'm Arif Halaby, and that's Jeff Gerard. And we're here every week at this time. And you can always go on Hometown Station, pull up some of the old shows, too. You can get an idea of what conversations we have and what we talk about. Certainly not hiding from our opinions. That's us. I'm Arif Halaby. That's Jeff Gerard. You're listening to the Total Financial Hour on AM 870. On AM 1220 KHTS.
KHTS AM 1220.